All right, Mr. Joswiak, Mr. Smith, Mr. Koken, Mr. Collins. How we doing today, fellas?
If it was any better.
Looking ready to go. I can see that you're all fired up. Big day today, the Kansas State Wildcats. And I know
Hey,
you
ain't
guys know
no
what a
joke
Wildcat
either.
is.
They're a good football team.
On the field and off.
Yeah.
we all had our Wildcats. So, come on, Harvey, you got to smile, man.
Hey, there's a lot to smile about.
Then we just lost Coke.
Lot to smile about. Hey, it's Thanksgiving week, man.
I don't know what happened there.
A lot to be thankful for. A lot to
That's
feel
all right.
good about.
We're ready to go. The Mountaineers. Mountaineer Legends pregame. Getting ready to start. We're going to have a special guest appearance with Aaron Beasley. Good old Bees. Because I'm coming out with the old Harmar Stores logo. It's going to be by your head. There you go. Yep. Not bad. Like a man of white. There you go.
Vanna. I remember Vanna.
We have a Aaron Beasley sighting. Mountaineer Legends are ready to go. We got Mikey Collins. Mikey C. What's up, shoulder pads?
Good.
Bees. I see you,
Aaron
Bees.
Beasley up for the Collegiate Hall of Fame NCAA. We
Gotta get him there.
This year.
We need another one.
Harvey Smith, there's the wide receiver, Mr. Retired coach. Came on last week, put down some incredible football knowledge, Mountaineer knowledge, coaching knowledge, letting Mountaineer Nation know what's up. Very nice.
Hi, my name's James Committer, and I'm from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. And when I'm back home in the Pittsburgh area, you can find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that golden pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Parmar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
We're the True Corona Blue Faithful go for the best in beer, burgers, pizza, wings, and more. It's the Mountaineer Tap House on the Evansdale campus. Mountaineer Tap House features well over 40 craft beers on tap, plus the best appetizers, salads, burgers, wings, pizza, and tacos the University City has to offer. Enjoy their exclusive craft cocktails too. Dine on the balcony or chill out inside with walls and walls of TVs. Follow Mountaineer Tap House on social media. Mountaineer Tap House, second floor above the Parmar store on the Evansdale campus.
All right. And welcome to Mountaineer Legends pregame. Game 11, the Kansas State Wildcats. We welcome you for Brian Joswiak, Harvey Smith, Michael Collins, Aaron Beasley, and Kevin Koken. And you never know who's going to drop in or drop out, as I see a coach just and he's going to drop in and drop out. I don't know what's going on there, Coke, but you might want to pay your power bill, man. I would think a guy like you, like vice president of a company, a major company, that you would be able to pay your bills. But, you know, then again, it is what it is. So welcome, Mountaineer Nation, all that are joining us. If you have a question, go ahead and put up. And if it's a good question, it doesn't suck, that we will try to answer it for you. I'll put it on the chat here, and we'll go ahead and start with this. And Joes, how are you today? This is the Mountaineer Legends pregame with WolfMan and you. So I'm going to go ahead and include your brother. How are you doing? And what's going on today?
Wolf, hey, it's game day, and I'm doing fantastic. I mean, we've got another opportunity at home today to really light them up. I mean, we did a big thing last week, got a big win, and that goes down in history. And this one here sets up to be a very important game for us and for the players. I don't speak about nobody else. All I care about is them players and what they deserve, and they battled long time to get this opportunity. And it'd be a good one to be a good one to grab today, Wolf. Beautiful day down here in South Florida. No hurricanes. All right, not like up in Buffalo. Oh, them poor people up there in your hometown, Orchard Park, got smashed with some snow. But hey, you know
what? Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you how tough those people in Buffalo are. Now, my mother used to send us out to play in the snow thunder. Okay, so when it was out there and a blizzard was going on and the thunder was going on, she's like, "Hey, Daly, go ahead and play."
So why'd they move the game to Detroit? Play in the snow.
That was the NFL. That would have been something. I'll tell you what. That was the NFL that moved it. Not the Buffalo Bills. Why would you give up that advantage, right? Why would you give up that advantage? But it is the Cleveland Browns, so probably not too much advantage. They're used to playing in a lot of crap too. So not too bad. And that's actually, Coke, you're a Browns fan, aren't you?
I was. and then like 30 quarterbacks ago became disenchanted.
Oh,
Bernie,
you got the 30 quarterback syndrome going on. They switched the quarterbacks, then they switched head coaches. Okay, let's see. Harvey, what's going on with you today, man? Up in the meantime.
They even lost the team too.
Oh no, you're just gonna jump in, Bees. Okay, we got that.
No, I was saying they lost the team in the meantime too. Cleveland went to Baltimore.
Well, they did. Well, they came back though. That's interesting. You know, and Harvey, we'll talk about the Pittsburgh, man. You got Steelers and the Bengals this week. I don't know what happened to you, Harv. You were just perfect there a second ago. Did you hear him, Joes?
No.
Okay.
Are you muted?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bees. Go ahead and mute.
Oh, no, is he muted? I don't know.
Harvey, you muted, man? All right. Mikey C. Harvey.
I'm a Steelers fan too. So
Go ahead.
A big game for the Steelers. It's a home game too, right? For Pittsburgh?
Yep. It sure is. Yep.
It's a home game for they're figuring it out. I'm actually, people are disappointed with the play. Right. I mean, considering as a rookie, and we got Mike Tomlin. But I think he's going to keep a streak of non-losing seasons going, and we're going to the Pussycats.
You really think that?
I really do. He's a hell of a. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot for him to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't count him out.
Okay, well, he's only got 2 more opportunities, man. So regardless, and Bees, how you doing? Are you in PA today?
I'm in Florida, sunny Florida, down here enjoying 60-degree weather. Back here in my old stomping grounds, Jacksonville, Florida, making some good moves, making some big moves. Heading to a golf lesson, so I'll be quick today.
Okay. Well, then if we're going to be quick today, just tell me one thing. Why is it that you're taking a golf lesson? Because I hear every time you get on the golf course, that Mikey C here just hammers you.
That's
the golf club.
That's the reason.
That's it.
I'm tired of being the guy that's like, yo, I'm tired of being the guy. Go ahead, Bees, pick your ball up. I'm tired of being that guy.
Hey, Aaron, before you got on here, Joe's was like, just taking those golf lessons is he's tired of getting his ass beat by Mike Collins. The only reason. That's the only reason.
Okay. Hey, so let's get this started here talking about. I want to talk about Beasley's swing, but it's just not that impressive. So, Bees, we are going to start out with you because you are going to be short timer here. What did you see? Or no, let's take one step back. Let's talk about this. Today is Senior Day. Go over and tell me about your thoughts on Senior Day.
Oh man, it's a very emotional day. I mean, you put so much blood, sweat, and tears into trying to win and trying to get yourself to be at the high level, and it all comes down to like your last game, and you want to go out with a win, and that was my thought. It was funny because on my senior day, we all got together as a secondary And like before we even went on the field, Van and Charles and Logan, they all were like, man, if any of us gets an interception, we're giving you the ball, Baze. And like I thought I was going to get the interception, and Van got the interception and ran around until he found me and threw the ball to me. And I scored a touchdown, but the penalty got called back. But it was like one of the best moments of my life because like coming into Mountaineer Nation with those three guys, and then to go out like that, man, it was like a dream come true.
All right, Cope, go ahead and tell us about your senior year and having a dream come true, like Baze is saying, and what it meant to you running out and, you know, going by your teammates and those 4 to 5 years, man, they flash by and then you're out in the game. Then you got to be ready for a game to play.
Yeah. Actually, Dale, when you're talking through that, I started getting back and remembering what that felt like. And in your sports career, you sort of seminal moments, right? The first time you start or get into a game, the big victory, and then that marker as a senior day, that team as a senior that you're playing, maybe ever playing football ever again, and that's commitment and the team and everything that's going on. And you know, more often than not, there's a ton of family in the stands. So it's all those emotions come out, but then now realize it all, and that's awesome. Chills. I'm still like the hair standing up on the back of my, you know, and getting pumped up. You know, but like at 2:05, I'd get run over. But you got to translate it. So okay, run a 4.840. You know, you got to put your ball cap on, and it's time to go play. You take all those emotions over here, and you translate them into the huddle. You translate them as you come up to the office. You got this, and it was absolutely incredible feeling. You know, 4+ years of Mountaineer fans who are the best anywhere. They're the best anywhere. On top of you know, the teammates that you live, breathe, bleed, cry with, and celebrate with.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Harvey, now listen, I know there's no hair on your head that can stand up, but how are you feeling? How are you feeling after senior day?
Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, you're good now, man.
All right, good. My senior year, just like you know, Aaron and Kevin said, you know, very emotional time. I can remember you know, all the great memories that you guys, we become family. I mean, think about it. We spend more time with each other than anybody, even our biological families. Those 4 years are, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. You hear that all the time, but it's the truth. You're in a trust with these guys, and you're sweating and you're grinding and you're getting through 4 years of whatever your situation and circumstances presents with your brothers, you know, and then it comes to a head as you come out on that senior game. And I remember that senior game for me was against Syracuse, which was a rival. Syracuse had, you know, an amazing program in those days, and it was always a close game. And then we won that last game, but things were different back in that day. We didn't know if we were going to a bowl game or not. And I remember going home after that game and sitting in my living room, and all of a sudden the phone rang because I was a captain that year. And it's Coach Nealon on the phone, and he says, "Smitty, I got some news for you. We're going to a bowl game." And I just yelled at the top of my head because we had no idea that we were going to a bowl game that year. And then we ended up going to the Sun Bowl, which was the only Sun Bowl that was the Winter Bowl in Sun Bowl history. Because it snowed the whole time.
There's no doubt. Now I can remember traveling on the bus and looking across the little Rio Grande River, which was like a stream, and there'd be like the houses and there'd be like no glass in the windows. I mean, do you remember that? It was quite an experience for us people up here and from Ohio, West Virginia to everywhere, man. PA, just something that we've never experienced before. That was a really good bowl game.
Yeah.
Mikey C. Yeah, Mikey C. Let's go. What's your experience for senior night? You know, what did you feel? How did you feel? And how did you get yourself ready to go play? You're a team captain as well.
Yeah, I was team captain, and you know, and I was alphabetically, I was the last player. Believe it or not, Rich Brampton. I was the last player called out. But and kind of like Kevin and Harvey were saying, we were playing in Miami. We were top 10. They were top 10, undefeated home game, the largest crowd ever in the history of Mountaineer Field, and being a 4-year starter, playing every game from game. Last game there at Mountaineer Field, and we're playing the number 3 team in the and it was you could touch on what I had done as much as what do we need to do now. We were right in the thick of it, trying to get to that BCS. Well, it was the collision poll then, and we were trying to get into that national championship game, being an undefeated team. So that was the focus, and the best feeling was winning the game and having everybody rush the field, and then that opportunity to reflect, and it was fantastic just watching everybody rush the field and being and thinking from being a redshirt freshman, my first game with the stands and the crowd and the warm-ups and falling down on my purpose, being in front of 50,000 people to being a part of rushing the field, 75,000, and accomplishing that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it sure was, like you say. And Joe's, I just got one question for you. How much did you cry running out there in 1984 when your Coach Nalen gave you a hug and probably out there in tears running out and all 6'7" of you?
It was actually 85. I was a redshirt freshman, and I had another year. Your brother was 84 offensive captain, and then 85 I was a captain that year. And your senior night, you're so raveled in so many emotions. For me, on a personal note, it was really special for me to have my folks walk out there with me and be part of that, because they're the ones that started the whole thing, and to be able to be there was really special. And like all these guys said, the brotherhood, it's amazing how fast that time goes. And quite frankly, a lot of times you just kind of take it for granted because you're into the moment and it's all about the moment. And you just don't really understand how important that is for the rest of your life. You're so emotional, and yet you have a job to do real soon because they just announced you, and now you got to take all that and laser focus into one purpose and do your job. And you got to put all that away really quick because you don't have a whole lot of time, and you kind of let it out. I think the emotion really comes at the end of the game when you finally realize that's it. That's the last time I'm going to play at Mountaineer Field. And when I take my, and if it's the last game of the year, I mean, these guys got one more game next week, but it's your last home game. They get to put that uniform on one more time. But this one means a lot. This one means a lot. This means a lot to everybody. And all those guys that get to play, and there's some seniors that didn't get a whole lot of playing time, and they're just as important because they got us there, giving their all every day in practice for all those years and all that investment. Senior night, man, a lot of emotion, very exciting.
Joe's, and you guys all sum it up, and I was really interested to see and to hear what you had to say about senior night because all of us are older men. And we all remember it like it was yesterday. And Amen. I can tell you this right now, just briefly, I'll say for me, Don Nalen, as he did, he always gave you a hug. And essentially, anyway, all of us played for Don Nalen. And he said, and this is what he said to me. And he said, Wolf, I want to thank you for your commitment. I want to thank you for going through for your commitment and being that you played the 5 years. I thank you for all that you've done as a Mountaineer. And he said, now go out there and have the best game of your life and finish it off the right way. So if I could see young Dante Stills right now and say to him, I say, Dante Stills, you have had an incredible career. Thank you for your commitment because you've played 5 years here. And I've said this to all the seniors, by the way.
Amen.
Dante Stills, I'm using as an example. Thank you for your commitment because you've committed, you have stayed, especially in today's day and age. It means something. And thank you for your commitment and thank you for your representation of West Virginia University because it's been nothing but outstanding. Outstanding.
Right.
As a fine leader of men, that's your age, as a fine leader of a football player, and a fine example of what it means to be a Mountaineer. And that to me is what I'd say to them. I say it to all the seniors. So wrapping it up, man, I remember like yesterday, and if I could just give them all a big hug, I certainly would right now. But with that being said, we are going to move on. And Baze, I want to get you before your actual lesson. So watching Oklahoma game, what did you see in the Oklahoma game that you liked, and see what the team did win the game and what they can do to continue this winning approach? You got your mute button on, Beats.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Harvey, let's go to you, big guy. Come off your mute button, Beats. Go ahead, Harvey. We'll finish that.
Yeah, I think, kind of just what we talked about last week. I would see the move to Garrett Green. I thought it was the right move at the right time. It gave us some life. It gave us energy. And it really, frankly, gave us the opportunity to change the momentum in that game. It's in a position to win that game. So I'm really with that move and look forward to hopefully moving forward with Garrett back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. So so I was just impressed that they made a decision to move forward with Garrett. I thought he energized us. I thought he, an opportunity to win. And I'm just looking forward to continuing the same type of energy. And that just spoke to my bigger point last week. Not bashing coaches or anything like that, but if you're into sports, you're into competition. And I think sometimes we get so comfortable with guys as starters and it's not getting the job done. Nothing personal. If the job's not getting done, give somebody else an opportunity to get the job done, because at the end of the day, it's about winning the football game. It's not personal. We're here, like the commercial said, we're here to win the game.
Right.
No, that's a great point. And Mikey C, what did you see with Oklahoma? What did you see with the Mountaineers? Oklahoma came in, the Mountaineers fought. They weren't perfect by any imagination anywhere, but they fought. And to me, that was impressive. What do you say?
With that, they fought. They definitely showed some grit. Like Harvey said, that making it just the one thing that he does is he allows the opportunity. So if when the pocket breaks down, he can move and extend a run, or that scramble, make a pass. Oklahoma was let me back up. I said entertaining to do, right? Entertaining football. And I mentioned he's probably going to take a couple chances, and he did. I think something special teams wise, right? Fake, we took those chances, maybe got outside of his comfort zone because he's thing to lose. So let's just roll with the dice. He should have done more of earlier in the season, but that's neither here or there. The other they look like a team with the first-year head coach. And now that being said, that's part of the game, And had opportunities, didn't take advantage of them. We had opportunities and took advantage of them. So, beating Oklahoma for the first time, I was able to walk around all in North Florida and feel happy and know nobody could pick on me. So like we said last week, I ride or die with him. I'm not gonna get into too much to gauge. Let you go there, but it was fun to watch. I'm glad we won.
I thought so too. Coke, what did you think?
Yeah, so similar to what everybody else said, but number one, decision. Coaching staff made a decision, made a change, right? And he created that spark that really got everybody. We break it down orders, right? If you look back at the last 4 or 5 games, we played 3 quarters, and the fourth quarter happened, and we ended up losing some games we should have won. So we played grit up front. There's the intensity of Garrett, probably, but on the defensive side, I thought there was a ton of grit, but don't break. And that game could have got away from us very soon when they were going up side to 35-ish, 30. Then the defense said, nope, field goal at best, get an attempt. So I thought the defense held on really well. That gave that opportunity for the offense to get into that grind and let Garrett Green really bring that team around. And I thought the coaching staff looked a little bit more engaged and excited and intense, and not intense about complaining to the ref about something, but intense about coaching the team. I thought they were all engaged, and that's 4 quarters of football. That's how you win.
Joe's, go ahead, man. Break down that last week's game.
Oh, first of all, the win over Oklahoma is big. I don't care what the records are. We ain't beat them in the 9 events before that in the Big 12 era. So that's a huge win. And we talked about that last week about the kids. I say the kids, those young men, going down in history, doing something that they'll be remembered for. And let me tell you, we're all going to remember Garrett Green's performance, the way he got in there and grabbed the reins. And watching it on TV was exciting, because you guys know me, man. I'm a passionate guy, and when it comes to playing football, the only way to play it is passionate, because that's what controls all the chemistry. That's what gives you the juice, man. That's it. And when Garrett got in there, the ignition, the spark, it's like setting a fire. I got goosebumps like that. See him right there? Look. And once you get to there, it's contagious, and it lights up everybody else. And I watched him, and I watched Stills greet him on the sideline, and the camera was right there. And what I saw about Garrett Green telling them guys, we are going to win this football game.
Amen.
But we all got to get involved, from coaches to right down to the last guy on the sideline. You best damn sight believe you're going to win the ball game. And they did. And it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch defensively the fourth quarter, like Coach said. That was a defensive shutout. We shut them out. And we ran a couple of big drives, and we ate up a lot of clock. Time of possession was immensely different. I don't know the numbers. I can't remember. Like 38 minutes. We had the ball. They had it for like 22. That's freaking huge. And you got to figure, too, because we were -1 in the turnovers. All right? You're usually going to be on the short end of the stick. So to hang out and be part of that to the very end and fight to the finish, man, that was really fun. That was fun to watch. It was fun. And I got to say this about Garrett. He pointed up a lot. That's pretty good stuff, too. All right? That's pretty good stuff, too, because you get that guy in your corner and you got it going on. And that was really fun to watch. So, hey, a huge win for the Mountaineers, man. A huge win for the Mountaineers. We're still giving up some big plays defensively. They cut us up a couple of times right up through the middle and got a big one and a big pass. And we got to, that bend don't break. But, you can't give up those big plays, because those are huge. Those are momentum things. And thank God for Casey's leg. All right. Thank God for Casey's leg. That guy, he's won, 3 games now on his boot. And he's like, I think he's tied for number 1 in the nation on 100% field goals. He's 13 for 13. That's a bonus, man. When you got somebody that no matter what, you get inside that area and hey, man, he's gonna do it for you. That's huge, man. That's huge. A couple good kickoff returns, fun to watch.
I agree, but let's get real now, okay?
Sure.
Yes, get real, Dale, because you're thinking, and you're going to say exactly what I'm thinking.
I mean, let's get real. When is the standard that he said 8.5 yards per rush by Eric Gray? 25 rushes now. 25 rushes he had. How many times did Marvin Mims drop a ball for a touchdown?
Yeah.
True. 3, 2. I mean, he was wide open. Wide ass open.
He dropped open one that the quarterback just flat out missed, that there was nobody around him at all.
So I agree with everything what you guys said. I'm positive, and I'm going there for Young Brothers. But let's get real, because we got a real game today.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have a team, and let's talk about this, because Garrett Green, we think that he's going to start. I think he's going to start. Maybe he doesn't. Regardless, Neil Brown was great in the fact and being a real coach and saying, listen, I don't know who's going to play. Why would you do that to a young guy who's never really started in Garrett Green? Or why would you do that for a defense that has to spend time just preparing for one other quarterback? If they're both the same quarterback, maybe it wouldn't matter. But you have two distinct styles as quarterbacks that Kansas State now has to prepare for. And then you throw a little bit of Nico in there, which could be a total game changer. Who knows? Who knows? But what I'm saying is this, as this game is real today. Kansas State, before we get into it, give up 17.5 points. Oklahoma was giving up 33 points. Oklahoma is 119th against the run. Garrett Green, okay, can run the ball. Very good. Garrett Green can run the ball against Oklahoma. Very good. Garrett Green running the ball in one dimension could be a problem against Kansas State. And I want you guys to say, what do you think is the scheme? What do you think they're going to do? And how do you think they're going to defeat it? And I'm going to go with you, Mikey C. Let you start first.
Well, as far as Kansas State's defense, much like you said, they're stout. We're going to play a team today that's going to be sound fundamental. It's something that we've been harping on in football and getting back to that. And I followed that coach because I was out in him when he had his success at North Dakota State, and seeing how they played the last few years. They're going to be physical up front, and they're going to pressure. So, and if behind the sticks, that's what they're playing. Yes, they're going to try to get us behind the sticks, put us in pass the ball so they can bring pressure or they can confuse the quarterback. And so what they will bring is, if he's in there on the third and long, they're going to run some exotic. They're going to give him a look on his zone coverage and flip the coverage, and it's just and he's, because he hasn't seen it, it's going to cause him to hold the ball, or it's going to spy, and that's how they're going to play. He can throw the ball, he can read coverage, mobility, right? So I would suggest, I would think with them, with him, and they bring an extra rusher just to try to collapse the pocket on him, well, in the pocket, in that scenario from a third and long situation. You're right, Dale. Though, we're not going to get a team that's going to make a ton of mistakes today. We have an opportunity. We've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And so it's imperative Brown continue to play very loose. Take chances. Go for it. Harvey mentioned this, and we've about that pit call, but you got to go for those tonight. There's no holding back.
No doubt. Harvey, go ahead now. You got Garrett Green there in that offense. You got a different team. Oklahoma was struggled against the run. Kansas State doesn't. How do you go ahead and manage to get Garrett Green in this game, work him, and to have him be successful?
Well, the thing about it is, and I understand the analytics of the game, and Kansas State has a more stout defense and those kind of things. But I'm looking beyond that. When Garrett Green came into the game last week, he energized everybody. See, when you have a quarterback who the team is energized behind, and you got that positive, and you like, this guy can make a play for us, it kind of trickles down to everybody on the team. The line blocks a little bit harder. The running backs run a little bit harder. The defense got confidence, because the worst thing for a defense is to feel like the offense has no opportunity to score points. And they're going out there series after series after series, and it just wears you down mentally and emotionally. And then boom, here comes this Garrett guy. And he's a slight build quarterback, and he might not look the prettiest on paper and this, that, the other, but I watched him gritting and grinding and fighting for every single yard. I mean, some of them runs he made, he looked like a running back. And so what it does to you as another player on the team, you're going to give a little bit more and a little bit more. And so I don't care then at that point what Kansas State looks like. I know I got this guy who is giving me everything he has. I'm obligated to do the same thing. So it becomes irrelevant what the defense presents to you. Yeah, they might bring an extra person to collapse the pocket, but Garrett Green is saying in his mind, hey, I'm built for this. Y'all my brothers, are y'all built for this? Because I'm going to make this play that's going to change this game. And so I'm encouraged coming into this game, because I think we got a fighting chance, because I think our mental approach to the game is altogether different after last week.
Good. Jones, go ahead, man. Put your thought into it.
I'm curious to see how this JT Daniels handles the situation, because the reins got yanked out of his hands last week.
Wait,
now,
Garrett Green, let me stop you right there. Let me stop. Okay, very good. He had body language after that first series. His body language was bad, in my opinion. And then he threw that interception right away. He had terrible body language. I tweeted it out. Bench him now.
Yeah.
Put in some. I had no idea if it was going to be Garrett, Nico, or whoever, or Goose. All right.
Well, we all sent texts with us.
Yeah, you needed to make a change. And go ahead, continue on now with that thought about it. But I just wanted to say that we knew going in that he had some bad body language for the last couple games, actually.
Yes, that's what I was going to go for right there. It's not just one game. Yeah, they made a bunch of excuses for him that one time because he had a real off game and he was off his game, and he ain't been on his game in a while. All right, so that change was, first of all, a bold move by them coaches to do it when they did it, instead of saying, let's give it one more series, we throw it under Hosky, we got a problem, because now we're in a big hole. So for them to make that call at that moment was absolutely critical. Be curious to see how, again, being the fly on the wall, how practice went this week for those guys and how competitive it was, or did all of a sudden Green just take the advantage? And of course, like you said, now Nico goes, ooh, hey, I might get some more playing time, so his elevation in practice. What did you do in practice? That'll be curious to see how that plays out today. They got a hell of a defense, Wolf. I mean, they switched over to that 3-3-5 scheme. And once you do that, now you can bring it from all over the place. Everything's moving, a lot of movement on the front. You don't know where it's coming from. It's a bunch of zone blitz stuff for the offensive line, so it can create some real confusion really quick. And they got some players, man. They got at all three levels. I mean, they're legit. They're pulling them out of the sky. I mean, they're ranked nationally interceptions. So they're taking the ball away, and they're out there hawking it. And hey, the defense is stingy. I'm with Harvey, though, and all of us. The reality is K-State's a hell of a lot better than Oklahoma. Better coached, better across the board, better off the field, the whole schmear. They've been together. This is what that coach's fourth year. It's supposed to be like this, okay? It's supposed to be like this.
Exactly.
And they're playing, and they're playing really good, but they're playing in Morgantown. Bless you. They're playing in Morgantown, and they're playing after a big win last week. It's senior night. I mean, it's just everything lines up, man. And if we play our butts off, we're D1 players just like K-State. You know, we play tight and we get after it and we let our talent just exude and we get the crowd involved and we grab them up as that 13th guy or 12th guy or whatever. I can't count today. But, you know, that's what we need. And you never know, man.
Football.
You never know. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see them fight. Fight to the finish. And you know,
right?
We'll know. I'll tell you what. I believe this. We'll know within the first 2 series, offensively and defensively, halfway through the first quarter, we're going to find out what we're going to be like. We're going to know.
Well, first of all, there's no doubt about it. Before we get back into Kansas State, I just want to come up and say this because I have to be a little bit of a devil's advocate. I have to get out there and pose the questions about what's going on. But the reality is, offensively speaking, when you have a guy like Garrett Green, we don't know if JT Daniels is going to start because you might just destroy him for the rest of whatever's left, I guess. Maybe it doesn't really matter. But it might just destroy him. Garrett Green might come in the second series, might come in the 5th, might start, or then of course you have a Nico, which was not going to start. I'll say that. But first of all, getting to Nico, he don't know what's going on. He's just going to go out there and play. That's the worst kind of guy you want to defend as a defensive coordinator. Is a guy who just doesn't know what's happening. It's a lot bigger than what he knows about or he's aware of, and he just wants to go play football. And he is the Gatorade Player of the Year. So I am anxious to see what he can do, whether that be 1 series or more. Regardless, now Garrett Green, getting back to that. If I'm the defensive coordinator, and I have been a defensive coordinator at the defensive level, and I'm seeing this guy come in, he is one-dimensional in my mind at this point. I'm not saying he cannot throw. I'm saying I have not seen him throw on film as a defensive coordinator. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take away what he does best, and that is making him an extra runner in the box. So that means that I have to bring somebody in to the box at a safety, and a 3-3-5, you can certainly do that and come up with a free hitter. Now, with Kansas State's defense, they're going to show a lot of cover 4, which is quarters in the zone, or they're going to show a lot of man free and be bringing some guys with heat. Why would you not bring heat on a guy in a passing down situation such as Garrett Green? Again, you don't know what he's going to respond with. He might respond with, hey, I got it down. I know my hot reads. I know how to handle the pressure. I can be elusive with my legs. Right now, it's an unknown factor. And as defensive coordinators, you hate the unknown factor. It drives you nuts. And I think what the Mountaineers have to do, they have to do a mix-up, a mashup of plays, being the run to the pass, the screen, which is screens are nothing more than an extension of the running play. Extension. Get creative, man. Take pressure off of your young guy. I say this all the time to my brother Craig about Kenny Pickett up there with the Steelers. Establish the running game. Get him moving in the pocket. Don't always make the pocket just to drop back. Get him out. This is what Garrett Green does well. You have to use all of his strengths. Because he's got a lot of weaknesses in the fact that he hasn't played a lot. He hasn't played a lot of games, so he has those weaknesses. So you have a defensive coordinator who's going to say, man, we got to see what this guy can do. And then you make adjustments at halftime if he can handle it. But again, I think this coaching staff has to be very creative, very creative. Hey, maybe get a Nico out there in the field at the same time as a Garrett Green or JT Daniels, whatever, and going ahead and doing some kind of mashup where you can go ahead and get him going and make him feel comfortable. So when it is time for him to use his strength of running or extending the play, it's there because you got the defense guessing. If you come out and you're going to say, I'm going to do this quarterback read zone all day long, they're going to kill you. They're going to kill you because they got that down. You have to be creative in your offense, and I'm very interested to see what Neil Brown and the coaching staff, Graham Harrell, is coming up with for this game plan for Garrett Green. I'm very, very curious because I think they can be successful. I think that last week, you're right. I believe in everything you guys just said. And I don't want to take over and go on a tirade here, but I believe in everything that you guys said. But there's also the reality of what they're going to face today. And that's a really good Kansas State Wildcat defense with a rookie quarterback going through that's good against the run and knows how to stop. And with that being said, I want to now go ahead and flip it over to the offense because we haven't even talked about Deuce Vaughn. 5.5 yards per carry. We haven't talked about Will Howard being the number 2 quarterback because Adrian Martinez is out. But Will Howard actually has more passing touchdowns in 3 games with 9 than Adrian Martinez did. Adrian Martinez had 9 games and he had 3 touchdowns, and Will Howard had 3 games and he had 9 touchdowns. I mean, it's flipped because Martinez was doing more of the running game, but you see Will Howard game. So now what are you going to do with Will Howard coming in? He put up 3 touchdowns against the Baylor Bears. They beat the Bears 38-3. We beat them 43-40. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this offense that beat down this offensive line, Joes. They're really good in the run, but how do you stop them? Because they're not so great in pass protection. They're not great. You can get to them. There are things that you can do to make it work. And I'm going to go down the line here. I'm going to start with you, Coke. Go back, and I'm going to go you, Mikey C, then Harvey, and then Joes. I'll give you the last word on this. But now you're looking at this offense, and who's the coordinator? It's Colin Klein. So you're going back to an offense that's you saw back with Schneider. In his days with Colin Klein was a quarterback. Not much has changed, even though the coaches have. And the Kansas State's kind of been the same thing. So go start us off because I'm fired up. I'm excited about today. There's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of downside if you let it be a downside, but there's a lot of good side if you can find the way to work the formula.
Yeah, so a lot of fire and intensity there, Dale. Well, so they average about 417 yards per game, right? Which means average just over 31 points per game. So they can score the ball. Our defense proven that's going to hurt us, right? So what are we going to do? How are we going to buy? And it's not a strategy, but I'm going to count on the weather to help us just a little bit today. I'm in Morgantown right now. And does that stifle their passing game? Right. So do they become a little bit more one-dimensional? So this kid started this year, he started for 12 total. So he's not a rookie. He knows what he's going to show up. And he's been in Morgantown before and played before in Morgantown. Now, all that said, what do we got to do? I mean, we got to punch them up front quickly and own them quickly. Let them, when you get hit a couple of times on your arm and your hand, and it kind of hurts and burns a little bit more with them the first couple of plays in the first couple of series to let them know they're in more. Get in this quarterback's grill. All right, we got to put some pressure. The team still today, so somebody's got to come free. So let's slide up our backers. They're not going to throw early on until they get a groove of the game. So let's stifle them up front, back, and let's let our QB swagger take over on the other side of the ball.
Like the QB swagger, Mikey C, what's going on, man? What do you see there?
Well, hopefully we can play as efficient defensively as we did last week. What we hold, 3rd down, something like that. So, I don't expect that. Vaughn's going to be a problem. He's a problem for everybody, though. As they just pound the ball, they flip him out in slot receiver. They incorporate in their passing game, and he's a multiple player, so they can have the same personation, and then you keep, you have, 2 back 2 tight, or 2 back 1 tight, going 3 wide because you have, the receiver. You can put him out as a receiver. So so then you have to, now your defense has to change. And are we going to be able to make those changes, the checks, or are we going to be able to get lined up and no assignments and anything? What they do, they get personnel on with that personnel, create a mismatch. Well, we have an extra safety out there, so hopefully there, and but we match up and we know what we're doing, and we play our assignments, and as much as anything, and we all on here, what's killed us defensively this season is guys just out of position, not knowing their assignments, and there's just busts. Can we limit those? We can we force them to be a little bit one-dimensional too? I mean, I reached out inside last week. There's been times this season where really well, and can we get them in obvious, much for quarterbacks, get us in obvious passing situations? Can we get them in those obvious passing situations? But the big thing is, it's going to be critical is, matching up on what you're supposed to do. And that's the coaching, and that's the thing that we've been talking about. So we'll see. I mean, the X factor, the weather is, I don't think it's going to be as much in Kansas. It's freaking cold there too. It's probably colder there and more wind. So coming up here playing in the cold, I don't know if it's going to impact them. But and this is what we'll see about the true Mountaineers, and that's the thing about our fan base. This is the game where they show up, This is the one when they come out, Oklahoma, and now they come out, and we got a 2:00 start time, which is actually kind of for us, if you think about it, because it gives everybody enough time to get lubricated and enough time, but also enough time to drive home after the game too. So that drive back, which increases the fans. That's if it was a 7:00 game, 2:00 game, we could have a nice showing there, and if we can get those third down and get and that stadium is loud, hey, it gets crazy.
Got to be entertaining.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Entertain me.
Harvey, do you know what he's talking about being lubricated?
Say that again.
Do you know what he's talking about being lubricated?
No, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to.
Okay, Harvey, you got the defensive coordinator headgear on. You got the headset on. What are you doing here? Looking at this offense, looking at a balanced offense, because they are balanced, but they do go to deuce probably 60 to 65, maybe even 70% of the time, depending on the game, because not only is he averaging 5.5 yards rushing, he's averaging 70 yards receptions, and he's tied with number 4, Malik Knowles, for the leading receptions on the team. And then, of course, you got Barber out there, number 8, who's going to be your end-around guy, your reverse guy, who's going to be your punt. I mean, this guy, or Philip Brooks, I'm sorry. He's your guy that's just in there doing all the utility things for the offense. And don't forget about who? Ben Sutton, the tight end. He had 7 catches last week versus Baylor. He had 2 touchdowns. He hasn't had that all year. And now all of a sudden he has a coming out game the week before. You're preparing as a defensive coordinator, man. What are you going to do to stop this offense?
Yeah, that's a lot to think about, isn't it? A lot to worry about. So to me, you get back to the basics. Take the overthinking out of the equation. Don't make it complicated. Make it basic. Make it simple so that everybody knows every play what their assignments are. What's your gap? That's what you're responsible for. Get back to the fundamentals. Get them off the field on third downs. Win the third down battle. Don't give up big plays. Keep everything in front of you. If they get a play, they're going to get a play. All that you just described, make the tackle. Make it second down, make it third down, and then get them off the field on third down. Don't have the kids out there overthinking. Play efficient football, smart football. We've already just said it. They're not going to beat themselves. So we can't beat ourselves. Let's play good, fundamental, sound football. And it's always been my experience as a coach with my teams that sometimes as a coach, I would overthink things. And when I would sense that, I would go into my staff and I say, let's simplify things. Let's get our athletes being athletes. Because when they're not thinking, they're aggressive and they're coming now, they can play smash mouth West Virginia Mountaineer football. And if we lose playing with aggression, then so be it. But what I don't want is I don't want to lose overthinking. And now you got a guy out in a bad gap and now you got an 80-yard run. Oh, we're overcomplicating the coverages and we're sending an extra guy and the wrong guy goes and this guy doesn't go over top to cover him. Now we got an 80-yard touchdown pass. Simplify, be efficient, get them off the field as much as possible on third down, turn the ball over to our offense, and let's see what this guy called Garrett Green can do. Let's see if he can get the fans into the game. Let's see if we can get the energy and the synergy, getting that offense and defense working together so we can be rocking and rolling like Mountaineers do.
Joes?
I'm ready to suit up, man. I love that. I absolutely love that.
You're not allowed to sit up. You got to get your headset on, and now you're a coach, as you have been so many years. What are you doing to stop this team, this offense?
I'm going to the offense, and I'm going to say, hey, you guys got to have a big game and keep their offense off the field. That's number one. So time of possession offensively for us becomes very critical. We can't let them be out there. That's number one. Number two, yeah, they're potent. And, their running game is as good as we've seen. No doubt. That running back is a big timer. Their offensive line's good. They're getting big chunks of yards, and they're eating it up. All right. But, our defensive backfield has consistently been our weak link all year long. And that puts a lot of pressure on those guys because, you can be multidimensional now because I'm thinking I got to stop the run. And that's when I come off of coverage and I get my eyes in the backfield a little bit too much. And that's when I get beat. So we got to be able to play our coverage. All right. But we got to be able to put pressure on, we got to stress their running game. All right. If you don't stop the run, then you could do other things. So our defensive box becomes critical. We've got to be able to stop that run and force them, to do some things that they don't want to do. We have to make them make adjustments. And like you guys have said, it becomes very critical in how we execute, right? Like what Harv was talking about, man. If we're not on our game every single play, that's the kind of team that'll take advantage of your mistakes. They're not going to make any, or, they'll make one here and there, but they're not going to make stupid mistakes. They're not going to make those kind of errors on the field. And then when you do, they're going to sting you. All right. So we got to keep our game critical. We got to execute. We got to make sure we're in the right position. And again, I say offensively, we've got to be able to convert. Once we get into those scoring positions, we cannot walk away without points. We got to put points on the board. We got to put points on the board early. If we let those guys get 2 touchdowns and a field goal ahead of us, and we're going to try to play catch-up football against that football team, we got no chance of winning. So we got to keep it tight, and it's got to go all the way down to the wire. So we'll see. We'll see what we're made of. But we're going to get challenged.
we're gonna get
challenged. So,
I'll tell you this. I'm looking at this. Now I got the headsets on, and I'm telling you this right off the bat. I'm going to go with Harvey, number one, and simplifying everything. Simplify on defense because you have to be able to simplify. And if you're going to be an athlete, you can't be thinking. And to go ahead and to tackle just right off the bat, to tackle the best multi-purpose running back in the Big 12 and maybe the nation in Deuce Vaughn. This cat is 5'6", 179 pounds. This Wildcat squats over 600 pounds. Okay, this dude runs low. It's hard to get your leverage underneath him regardless because he's so short. But he also runs low. His shoulders are down. He's north and south. He has poise. He is an advanced route runner. This offense exists around Deuce Vaughn. You have to be able to tackle Deuce Vaughn. Number one thing, going back to Harvey Smith, and simplifying this defense so that you can be an athlete, is you have to tackle Deuce Vaughn in the open field. In order to do so, you have to be on him like glue. If he's got 2.5, 3 yards away from you and you're trying to make a tackle, he's going to make a move and he's going to leave you sticking. He is going to leave you sticking. If he's coming out of the backfield in a running play, you have to swarm as a defense and take away all avenues of escape because he is that effective as a runner. Now, Will Howard, He's a junior guy. He's 6'5", 235-pound quarterback. He has 2 varsity letters. He's no rookie here. He's got plenty of play in him. He is number 2. He's only played in 3 games, though, and he has showed signs of lack of miscommunication. You have to stop the run, which means simplify. And then, of course, as the defense has been doing the past couple of weeks, what have they been? They have been more aggressive. They have been blitzing more. And I think you have to continue that in a smart way. You just can't blitz every down. You have to be smart about when you do fire it. But if you don't sit there and you don't get on Deuce Vaughn right now, you're not going to stop this Kansas State offense. And one more thing. They are, hang on, Joe. One more thing. They are in the top 10 in the nation in turnovers gained, Kansas State. Okay. As you said, Joe's, they're in the top 15 for interceptions. They have 12 interceptions on the season. They get the fumbles. If the Mountaineers do not win the turnover battle today, it's not going to be like last week against Oklahoma. They don't have a chance. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I have a question, I guess is my question. And I get it, but then I really don't get it. You got a running back like that's doing his thing. Why do we not? The art of tackling has evolved so dramatically in the last little bit of time. We're tackling guys up on shoulder pads. I'd be putting knots on that guy's shins. I mean, we don't wear knee pads anymore. All right, we're out there running around with exposed lower legs. I'd beat that guy. I'd tell my guys, hey, somebody's got to put a knot on his lower leg every freaking play. We'll all gang tackle and get him on the ground because he's dangerous. He'll make you miss. He's got that motor. All right, but you know what? Beat up that guy's legs, and he'll slow down just a little bit. That's my question. Why don't we do that? Why don't we see that?
Go ahead, Mike.
The second guy in. Hold him up. Hold him up for me. Hold him up for me. Let me come in and take him out.
But Joe's, that is the question,
and you fall down.
Right.
If I hit you in your legs, you're gonna fall down.
But that's the whole concept of the swarm, is it not? That's the whole concept of helping your buddy out. But if you don't have that first guy to be there to slow him down, he is
to get out.
I watch film all day long. Every week I'm watching these guys, and I tell you, this guy of all guys, number one, he's 5'6". So if you're up there, you're 6'2", you got to really bend your knees regardless.
Yeah.
Just to get there. But he is a power train. He is a locomotive, man. That's 5'6". Like
Looks like King Harvey.
You know what? Well, I don't remember Harvey squatting over 600 pounds. All right, I could be wrong, but I don't remember him squatting over 600. Deuce Vaughn is a freak as a running back and also as a receiver. I've watched too much. I've watched him. He's got to be the number 1 running back that does the go routes in the Big 12. I mean, he does go routes. He just gets up. He lines up in a slot. He'll do a route out of a swing route right out of the backfield. You have to have somebody on him all the time. And if he has room to work, it's trouble for the Mountaineers. As it's been trouble for just about everybody else they played.
Right. Well, they're into a spot to determine who gets coverage on him. So they're to where, too wide, he's going to go inside to force a linebacker on. But if he goes to just one to a split side, then there's going to do things to figure out, okay, how do we get the most favorable matchup for him? They run arrow routes with him, and then they run the wheel route with him, right? And that's where he gets a linebacker. They get those mismatches. Do you go with a? We can't do that because we got to keep it simple. Our guys are just not. They're just fundamental. You can throw in some exotic stuff and say, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do to cover. We can't do it. We just can't do it. But we got to keep it. We're going to have some linebackers, covering him today. That's just the reality of it. They're going to have to, rally to the ball, or back off the spot to force a bad throw. When you're coming in low too, that's naturally going to put your face in the ground, which is going to lend itself to missed tackle with it too, Brian. So that's where that second guy coming in's got to take him out.
Hey, I got a question here from Bob Podbesic. I think he was on the '69 Peach Bowl team. And this is for Harvey. If you could read it down there, Harvey, he's got on defense 3-man or 4-man. I'm not. Do you understand what were you saying there? He said, answer my defensive question, Harvey. You're being called. Are you going 3-man or 4-man in defense? Are you rushing? Let's take it that way. Are you bringing 3 or 4?
Well, my response to that is that I'm not obviously going to change what our defensive scheme is. My only point that I'm making is simplify it and let's make sure we play sound football, because you guys are talking about that running back, right? And he's an amazing running back. I watched the game earlier this year, Michigan versus Penn State. And the conversation that I had with coaches after the game was Penn State wasn't disciplined. They were out of their gaps, and running backs like that will make you pay. See, when you got a vertically challenged running back and you can't see him and you're out of your gap, he's on you before you got a chance to make a play. He's 25 yards down the field because you're out of your gap. So whatever your defense is, I don't have the answer if it's 3-man or 4-man. I don't watch West Virginia's defensive line that much. But my point is we got to play disciplined football. We got to play simple football and assignment football so that we don't let him out of the gate. You know, you guys are talking about their whole scheme is to get this guy the ball. You know, me as an offensive coordinator, when I have a guy like that, I'm trying to ISO him in a passing game against a linebacker because I know he's going to win that battle every single time. I want him on a go route versus a Mike linebacker or even an outside linebacker. So I'm going to send him on wheel routes,
right? Because
I know we're going to win that battle. So you have to, from a defensive standpoint, 3-man front, 4-man front, switch it up. Whatever you do, but make sure that when we do that, it's sound and everybody is not playing hero ball. Everybody is playing assignment discipline football.
Go. You want to add anything to this?
Well, I think you guys have it all stated. And it's earlier and talked about swarm defense, right? And too often this year, it's one guy maybe making a tackle, maybe wrapping them up the right way. Get 1, 2, 3, 4 guys hitting. And Hari, to your point, that number one, know your gap, right? And then protect your gap. Don't worry about everybody else, what you got going on, and trust your brothers that everyone's going to protect their gap. You hold them, then our linebackers have the freedom to catch Deuce quickly, right? Every single game we've seen them get through the 3-4 yards, they're off to the races. So put a hat on somebody, put it on them hard, hold your ground, and make that break. If from a front, that question that's out there, in any defense I would move. So you can move that all around. You can create what you want, but when you go in my front, you slide them over in the gap, move them over, slide around. You can do so much, assuming you have the right skill set and the right capability, mentality from those folks. But three-man front.
That's very interesting, Coke. And I'm going to just this is going to go off the subject for 2 seconds. But, you looked at Oklahoma last week, and I really studied them, and they're 119th against the run. But they're number 10 in the country for tackles for losses. How could you be that? Well, I can only say this, and Mikey C, you tell me about this, but what's the big thing when you go man coverage? Either you get to the quarterback on a blitz, get man coverage, or a lot of times they're going to beat man coverage and score a touchdown. Right. I'm seeing this as they're doing twists now and stunt games on the defensive line, and West Virginia is that it's either you get the TFLs or you give up big yards. That's what I'm seeing in college football. And the Oklahoma game, studying last week, I'm like, that's a lot of teams. That's just not Oklahoma. That's West Virginia too. Is that you see them and they'll give up a big run. We give up big runs against Texas Tech, 25 yards in the red zone. I mean, you can go throughout the entire season. We got a lot of TFLs. We see our defensive line make some incredible plays. But we've also seen some big hits against the defense. And I think a lot of it has to be the fact that they're making all these stunts, and either it's kind of like playing man coverage. What's in the quarterback? You can be a hero on one side, or someone else can be a hero on the other. And I think that's what you're seeing here in the game. At least a lot in the Big 12 of what I've been studying here on tape. I'm sorry I got off subject on that, but I just wanted to point that out. So you're watching that down the line. Go ahead, Coach. Or I mean, Joe's.
Hey, stunts and movement. Number one, if you're executing it, and you're doing it right, and you're getting after it, it can cause confusion with the offensive line grouping. All right,
right.
But by the same token, you're taking guys out of gaps.
Exactly.
Now, when I take a guy out of that gap, if this guy doesn't get to the gap, that's that crease that Harv's talking about.
Yep.
When I get myself out of position and the gap's open, that Vaughn guy's going to eat us bad. So, we got to be cautious about doing too much. Like you guys have been saying, we got to keep it simple, stupid, and make sure we're gap sound. And you better damn sight fight your gap up front, because now the second level defenders become critical. Because if we're going to play man coverage, if we're going to be out there covering those guys up, we can't be having DBs coming off coverage, or that guy will hurt us. All right. So second level players become critical. Those linebacker guys, those outside guys, those linebackers got to have a great game today. But let's not get too exotic. Let's play sound defense and get after him. I'm not, like I said, if you twist a guy out and who you're bringing into that gap doesn't get there to replace him, we got some real problems going on. So,
and the other thing to add to that, Joe,
let's
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, can we defend the inside trap, split the middle defense, and they get a 60-yard touchdown run about 4 or 5 times last week? The previous game, it seems like the last, at least we've given up that play, and I just don't. I just want to stop that. Then it gives us an opportunity, and I think it has a lot to do with what Brian just mentioned, and getting out of, create creases and things of that nature. So can we?
I think that's exactly what you were saying here, Mikey. I think that's exactly what we're talking about, because number one is what happens in the Big 12 when they go with this 11 or 10 personnel. You're splitting the defense out. So you're reducing the numbers in the box, correct? That's number one. Number two is what you're seeing in all these big holes is they are moving, but they get displaced, and there are gaps there. And if you notice, how many teams are losing outside contain, not only against the run, but also in the pass, allowing quarterbacks to extend the play around the edge because they're doing all these twists and they're all getting inside. And I'm watching it week in and week out. I'm telling you guys, I watched this film, and there's a trend in this. No one's caring about outside contain anymore. And watch today is you watch these dual threat quarterbacks. It's a real problem. Either they get you on the move or you get them the TFLs. But how are you top 10 in TFLs like Oklahoma is, and then you're 119th against the run? How do you explain that? And honestly, I see that in more than Oklahoma. And that's something I thought that needs to be brought into this, because I've seen it in West Virginia this year as well. Now, with all this being said, we've gone down the line. We've talked about senior day. We talked about emotion. We talked about Garen Green lifting the team up, and everybody wanting to play, either for seniors, wanting to play for their quarterback, wanting to get excited, playing better on defense than they have been. All these things coming into this game against a team that's not going to make mistakes, against a team that's going to be physical, a team that usually is about opportunity, getting the ball on defense and not turning the ball over on offense. How do you have the formula today to go win? And Coke, I'm going to start with you, brother.
Got it. So I'm going to stick with Harvey's comments earlier. Swarm tackle, and I think stunts. We just talked a lot about stunts, and we don't have the back end coverage to run what I'll call them long stunts. Those big attack, quick slants, and fill the linebackers very quickly, right? So I'm going to call it stunts. We're going to be able to fill the gaps decisively, and that's what happens with the simplified going here, boom, done. I'm here, and I'm not worrying about anything else. I'm getting that gap. So fence, swarm tackle, and quick stunts, fill your gaps right away and immediately, fast and hard. And we've got to be successful because, again, our back end is challenged. Joe was talking about earlier in time of possession. I'm going to move to let Garrett Green to change the game in what we've done. We've been back, pocket passing all year, and it worked fairly well. Well, we don't have that. Can be Garrett Green. So let's move him out of the pocket, move it a lot, and that's going to allow a lot, not only with our front, with our guys, but with our line. But now it's going to open up the running game with some keep it simple. And the third is going to be take chances like we did last. Probably the most chances we took on offense, and we won on most of them. And let's count on Casey Legg. Let's rely on him. Let's not take the chance at the wrong time and walk away without getting points.
Excellent. Okay, Harvey, I'm going to jump up to you, and then Mikey C and Joe's, and then I'll sum it up. Go ahead.
Well, again, my formula is on defense. Let's play simple and fast. Let's play efficient, good defense. Get them off the field as much as possible. On third down, let's not take chances and let them out the gate. Like Joe said earlier, let's bend, but let's not break. Let's not give up big plays, and let's see what happens. And then put the ball into our offensive hands. So offensively, what I'm hoping that our offensive staff have worked real hard with Garrett this week to evolve his game, to bring his game a little bit. Because you made a critical point, Wolf, because we haven't seen him pass. And so I'm hoping that our offensive coaches have put a lot of time into his package to evolve, because he's going to have to throw the ball. Because if you're just running and you're making plays with your legs, the defensive coordinator is going to be able to eventually make the right adjustment to slow you down. So now you got to evolve. Now we got to have a quick game, because in order for them to do that, they got to send extra guys, which means they're going to be in some man coverage. Well, let's throw some fades. Let's throw some slants. Let's throw some rubs. Let's throw some smash routes. And let's get efficient at those 4 or 5 plays so that we can execute and get them where they're just not loading up against Garrett. So I'm hoping that that's what happens. I'm hoping I see some of those things today, that we get some critical completions to make him a well-rounded threat to the defense. And then I say, let's let the chips fall where they may. I think we'll be feeling good this time next Saturday.
Right on. Okay. Mikey C.
I think it starts up front, offensively and defensively. Joe's was talking about time of possession, controlling the line of scrimmage, offense off the field. I think if we can match up with their offense and sustain some drives, because they're going to sustain some drives, then it's going to make the game go faster, honestly. And if the game goes faster, that the possessions are limited, low scoring game, home crowd, fourth quarter, and then we have an opportunity. We have a real opportunity. This is really flowing. But just echoing what Kevin and Harvey said, I mean, play sound defensively. We've got to keep it simple. We've routine play, and the routine play is not necessarily the tackle. The routine play is getting guys just clean, getting guys to understand what they're supposed to be doing on that particular play assignment is, and if there's a change, just making that change. That's the routine play. That's the that we have been deficient at this year. We can do that. It's going to give us an opportunity defensively. I think offensively sustain some drives, but defensively, if we can, it's going to be hard for us to be 11 like we did Oklahoma last week. But if we can hold them, 3 for, 4 for 10, something of that nature, then that gives us a real chance that we're giving an additional possession for an offense, and so that's going to be critical. And then the last thing, the coach has got to play. The coach has got to continue to coach loose. I've been harping on about the AD. He's gone. He's next. It might be this year, it might be next year, but who knows? But he has to continue to coach like he has, and that's infectious because he has a sense of confidence about the outcome. I believe in my guys, and when he does that, and there's that infectious, emotion that comes from him. It permeates throughout the team, and then you got something. You got a little bit. What juice is? That's really what juice is. Is where you have some confidence and people are emotion, and it's not, and it's a sustainable emotion. So look, I'm looking forward to seeing how the crowd has an impact on this game as well. I'm really hoping, and I have a sense that they will.
Excellent. Okay, Joe's, go ahead. Now, James Committer, we got Joey Foster just put this up. Joe's put out an awesome tweet about his last time at Mountaineer Field, man. That's what it's all about, making men out of young guys that sign with this program. Let's go Mountaineers. Yeah, man. Put that in with what you got to say, brother.
No, that's huge. That's huge. I know that young man had to walk away from the game. I left the game as an injured athlete, and that's tough because you want to leave on your own terms, and he had to hang it up. So my heart goes out to him. But you know what? Hey, one door closes, another door opens. It's all about opportunity, man. What's next? Tell me what's next. You know what's next? Mountaineer football at 2:00. That's what's next. All right. And it's about opportunity. What a great opportunity. I mean, a ranked team in Kansas State playing, and we've been talking, they got a great offense and they got a great defense. Well, you know what? We've seen some light. We've seen our guys play at that level, but we got to see it for 4 quarters grooving together. We haven't really talked a whole lot about special teams. I think special teams becomes critical in today's game because it's going to be about field position. If you're going to make Kansas State rush the football, they're going to run the football, I'm going to make you go 80, 85 yards. I'm not going to give you the ball with 20 or 30 yards to go. I'm going to field position you. So Shaw's punt and foot becomes very critical today. Our coverages become critical. Our kickoff and punt return becomes very critical. And, of course, Casey Legg's boot is going to become critical as well. So special teams, we got to win that phase of the game. And we've all talked about turnovers, fellas. We can't be giving the ball over. We can't be making dumb penalty mistakes, those kinds of mistakes that cost us big yardage, jumping off sides. Yeah, that's critical because we just busted our butt to get 5 and you're going to give it back? Nah. Laser focus, stay in your game, man. And there's a nugget here. Let's face it, there's a nugget here. And like Mikey C says, hey, if Mountaineer football plays some entertaining Mountaineer football today, maybe the crowd does get into it. All right. But I ain't getting into it if it ain't entertaining. I want to see big plays. I want to see big hits. I want to see our guys play what we've talked about all year long, man. Play Mountaineer football from start to finish. And let the dust settle, and you might just have something really daggone special at the end of that game.
Now, I hear you there, and maybe they'll be a little bit lubricated as well, huh, Mikey C?
Lubricated.
Okay. So let me sum it up in my terms here.
How about that?
I have one more question for you after I sum it up for myself as who's going to shine today. So think about who's going to shine for you today for a Mountaineer victory. But regarding this defensively, I think the world of Deuce Vaughn. I think you could tell by the way I was talking about him. I really think he is the guy that I sit there and watch. Love to watch him play against other teams. Don't like to watch him play against the Mountaineers. But here's the key. If you got to have a formula. When you have a backup quarterback that's now going to become a starter or playing most of the game, such as a Garrett Green, and a young guy at that, you have to have a perfect formula. a formula for winning. And the winning starts on defense. That means that every guy, although you want to stop Deuce Vaughn and you know how crazy and good he is, every guy has to do their job. Their job. They can't try to do their buddy's job because that's when the holes happen. That's when Deuce Vaughn hits you. You have to have belief in your brother to do your job. If everybody, 11 guys, can cover the field doing their job, then they got a shot at shutting down this offense. Okay, offensively speaking, I want to see a game plan that takes the pressure off of Garrett Green. I want to see an offensive line that is using their strengths of moving around, using their strengths of grinding, play action passing. As Harvey said, I want to see the coaches have a game plan of getting his passing game going. I want to see a game plan of moving him out of the pocket, again, using his strength as a moving quarterback and not a sitting duck back there just so they can tee up on a young guy. It's got to be a perfect formula. I want to see special teams or anyone on defense get the ball. I want to see turnovers. Again, this is a formula. Sound defense, everybody doing their job, offensively being creative, using your strengths for a young guy to feel relaxed and not have the pressure put on him. And special teams or defense getting that ball, offensively not turning that ball over. But here's the deal. I want turnovers, but this is what's critical about it all the time. You can't just have turnovers. You got to be able to score on those turnovers if you want to have a victory against Kansas State. You have to score. You have to make the most of those turnovers. And then that's when the turnovers really do count. The Mountaineers are 96-14 since 2002 when winning the turnover battle. The stat is legit. The stat is real. And it's going to matter today. And basically, that's what I say for having a perfect winning formula. And maybe not so perfect, but a good winning formula that you stick fairly close to it, and then you can win. And so, Coke, I'm going to start with you. Who's your, let's see, your player that's going to be a click for your pick? Pick for your, I don't know, something to win.
To me, it's more than one. It's the earlier I said the QB swagger. When Garrett walked there and that energy, that excitement, that capability, that's going to translate into the huddle and the just oozing with intensity, oozing with. I want Garrett Green to have. They're all going to be. I want them to have a great game. And when you get all five, six guys, count the tight end, to do that for their quarterback, I think become the player of the game because they will now control the line of scrimmage, and they're going to control the time of possession. So I'm going with a group, and it's swagger that Garrett brings.
All right, Mikey C.
I'm thinking a little bit out the box. Tony Mathis. Maybe Tony Mathis, the way they use Deuce Vaughn today, create some mismatches. A little bit different. By motioning, particularly with Garrett Green in there, well, man might identify zone man, right? Well, maybe we check out the backfield. We throw a couple of wheel routes in there. We Kansas State. How about that? So I'm hoping he's better. He has a good game on the ground, but also want to see him catching the ball today.
Excellent. Okay, Harvey Wahlberger, go ahead, brother.
I'm riding the Garrett Green wave. However, he's not my key player. I'm riding his wave, and I think the defense is going to load up to stop him with a lot of people in the box coming in to stop the run game. What's that going to do? It's going to allow our wide receivers to get isolated. That's why I said I hope the offensive game plan was to evolve and to throw some fades, throw some slants to my man and my player of the game, Bryce Ford Wheaton, on a couple of fades for touchdowns, a quick slant that he takes to the house. Big day for our wideout who's going to be isolated out there on the island, and he's going to win those battles.
Excellent. Harvey Wahlberger. All right. Joe's, go ahead, brother.
Gotta get over that. Hold on, man. I got Harvey Wallbanger. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Hey, O-line wins games. O-line wins games. And you know, we got a young buck in there, Wolf. We got Coke, you know, we got a red shirt freshman in there. You know, and you know, that's who I want to see. I want to see him have a big game. I don't even know how to. Is it Remick? Is that how you say his name? I'm excited for that young. Yeah, he's you know getting in there. But I think today our offensive line, you know, we're 10 games in now. There's no excuses. You've seen everything. You know, I don't care what their defense presents. There's no more sneaking up on anybody. All right. So what I'm trying to say is our offensive line has a great game today. And like Mikey C said about getting our running back going, and we get our offensive line, we get our established front, and we control it. And I think, you know, seniors and such, I think Stills goes into a freakish zone today. I think he just absolutely has his best game yet, because he ain't played his best game, and that's scary. So, you know, hopefully everybody plays their best game. You know, let it shine. If everybody if we as Mountaineer, if every guy goes out there and plays their best game, think about that. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take the easy route out. I'm just going to say 11 on D, 11 on O, and 11 on special teams. And we get them all playing together. Amen. And we can win this game. Hey, from all of us, I believe, have been team captains in our past for the Mountaineers. So to our young brothers playing their last game today at home, we thank you. Thank you for your commitment. We thank you for following through to West Virginia. We love you as young brothers, young Mountaineer brothers, and we'll always be here. And when you get to the other side, as we have gotten to the other side, we are here, and we are strong, and we will be there for you. And that's what I say, fellas. And God bless you.
Amen.
You know what? Let's go, Mountaineers. Let's beat K-State. The Wildcats, I really want to beat them. Let's go, guys. And we thank Parmar Stores, because there's not a Parmar store near you now. There will be one soon. We'll see you next week.
Let's go, Matt.
Hi, I'm Casey Legg, and I'm from Charleston, West Virginia. When I'm back home in Charleston, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that golden pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Parmar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Where the true gold and blue faithful go for the best in beer, burgers, pizza, wings, and more? It's the Mountaineer Tap House on the Evansdale campus. Mountaineer Tap House features well over 40 craft beers on tap, plus the best appetizers, salads, burgers, wings, pizza, and tacos the University City has to offer. Enjoy their exclusive craft cocktails too. Dine on the balcony or chill out inside with walls and walls of TVs. Follow Mountaineer Tap House on social media. Mountaineer Tap House, second floor above the Parmar store on the Evansdale campus.